Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Nur Syafiqah Aida Akmal binti Saiful Akmal. My metric number is 22124045 from 22D. Today, I would like to do a presentation about cross-cultural interview analysis. Now, let's get into the introduction. The cross-cultural interview is a ray of hope in the constantly evolving global community, allowing for the unrestricted flow of ideas and experience while tearing down obstacles to prejudice and misunderstanding. It is evident of the value of communication and the human spirit persistent need to establish a connection with one another, regardless of language or cultural background. In this report, I have selected 5 candidates from various of culture background, such as Chinese, Indian, Suluknis, Sundanese, and Somali. As you can see on the slide, these are the candidates that I've selected for this interview. The first one is Low Yaying, she's a Chinese. Next, Yormila Anak Perempuan Sunda, she's an Indian. Next one is Langit Cahaya Malam, and he's a Sundanese from Indonesia. Next, Nordiana Fong Ziyun, she's a Suluknis. Last but not least is Hassan Abdirazak Ahmed, which is Somali from Somalia. For the next slide is interview preparation. For the first step, after selecting the participant, I need to do a research about their culture. By doing this, it can assist me in comprehending the norms, values, and communication style of the culture. Secondly, create a list of open-ended questions that are in line with the research goal and consider the cultural background of the interviewee. By doing this, it can invite the interviewee to discuss their unique experience and cultural perspective. Thirdly, aware of the cultural norms while preparing interview question for the interviewee. For instance, it considered impolite in some culture to inquire about someone's family or marital status, which make it critical to refrain from posing inquiries that can be viewed as offensive or disrespectful. Lastly, I need to prepare myself to be able to adapt during the interview period. This entails speaking clearly in simple terms, maintaining eye contact, and dressing professionally. On to the next one is interview process. The time frame for this interview took 1 week in total to complete via Google Meet and Google Form. The interview is conducted from 16 October 2023 until 22 October 2023. The reason why I choose to do an interview via online is because it is brings such convenience to both parties. Interviewees can do interview from home or any other location of their choosing, and interviewers can conduct interviews from any location with an internet connection. In addition, communication between interviewers and interviewees from diverse culture background can be enhanced through online interview. Software for video conference can offer real-time transcription and translation, assisting in making sure that all participants understand one another. The next slide is the schedule for all the candidates that has been interviewed before, starting from Low Yaying, which is on 16 October 2023, and followed by Yomila on 17 October 2023. Next is Langit Cahaya Malam on 18 October 2023. Next is Nordiana Fong Ziyun on 20 October 2023. And lastly, Hassan Abdirazak Ahmed on 22 October 2023. As you can see from the schedule, the interview was held between 2 p.m. until 9 p.m. This is because it was the best time for them, because they are free from their work schedule or class attendance. The next slide is summary. From the interview that I have conducted earlier, various communication style might result from cultural variation. For instance, whereas direct eye contact is regarded as a sign of disrespect in certain culture. Next, during the interview period, the interviewees provide stories and personal experience that illustrate how culture affected their lives. From example, one of my interviewee, which is Mr. Cahaya Langit Malam Abdul Karim, recently shared that in Sundanese culture, there are frequently organized a Sunday cleaning exercise to jointly maintain the residential area. From this experience, it shows that the culture are united in order to keep a harmony vibe in their residential area. In addition, while talking with the interviewee, I also insight about gender norms and expectation. In the past, gender roles were well established, with men usually fulfilling the position of primary provider and women generally handling more household duties. Lastly, barriers in the way that certain culture view and manage time might provide valuable insights. The cultural difference in punctuality, scheduling, and attitudes to a time are significant. For example, Tamil society generally value punctuality, particularly in formal and professional contexts. Next one is analysis of cultural dimension. The first one is power distance. This dimension is measured by both the viewpoint of followers and powerful leaders. People who live in society with high power distance typically understand that power is not shared equally and that they have a place in the social structure. Next, societies with low power distance are defined by a more inclusive understanding of power. For illustration, in India, Chinese, Sundanese, and other cultures place a strong emphasis on respecting and seeking guidance from the elders. Next dimension is masculinity and femininity. One of the main characteristics of masculine culture is their high emphasis on achievement, competitiveness, and material success. In feminine societies, modesty and family-oriented behavior are demanded for both men and women. For instance, men are frequently viewed as the main breadwinners and women as homemakers in some cultures where gender roles are set. Next, individualism and collectivism. Individualism places a high value on people's freedom, independence, and ability to express themselves. People in this culture typically base their decision on their personal taste, and they place a great importance on individual accomplishment. On the other hand, cohesion, interdependence, and harmony within the group are highly valued in collective culture. In this society, people have strong ties to their family. However, in Indian and Chinese culture, emphasize the importance of honoring elders and consulting them for advice. Elders are revered as the font of knowledge and expertise. Next, uncertainty avoidance. This dimension aids in our comprehension of how different cultures handle change and conflict. People are more likely to respect authority, and there is a higher emphasis on formality. For example, Chinese, Sundanese, Tamil, and Sudanese emphasize punctuality. Lastly, short-term versus long-term orientation. This dimension describes how much a culture prioritizes long-term objectives and a readiness to sacrifice immediate benefits. Based on the interview that has been conducted, we can agree that Chinese and Tamil culture has placed strong emphasis on academic success and respect the drive for knowledge. On to the next one is impact on cross-cultural management. The first one is cultural attitudes toward conflicts. It helps improve communication and enhance problem solving. Hence, in some cultures, direct confrontation is common. Secondly, gender roles aspect. Culture that favor one gender over another, in my opinion, should be abandoned, as everyone needs to do their share of the job in order for all workers, men and women alike, to receive justice. Thirdly, the cultural values. Most of the cultural values influence decision-making processes, especially in family and group settings. In certain cultures, decisions are occasionally made in a more hierarchical manner, with the clear authority person making the final call. Fourth, different working cultures, such as cultural values, communication style, decision-making, educational expectation, and cultural adaptation in working settings. Last but not least, strong emphasis on punctuality. The firm should not be rationally biased on certain culture. This shared value highlights the necessity of productivity, effectiveness, and seamlessly cooperation in any organization, regardless of the cultural background of its members. The next one is impractical implication. The first factor is gender equality. The firm need to change it toward equality of opportunity for both gender. In addition, conflict resolution strategies. The management should develop effective conflict resolution strategies, such as investing in cross-cultural training to avoid any conflict in the workplace, as well as keeping the workplace setting harmony between all the employees. Next, cultural adaptation and integration. In other way, is to respect different culture and must not be racially biased toward each other. Lastly, foster flexibility. The management should be prepared to modify any procedure or policies, such as become aware of the culture celebration. The next one is recommendation and strategies in managing cross-cultural differences. The first recommendation is resolving these disparities of gender prejudice. For instance, make use of standardized recruiting to avoid bias or stereotype based on gender. Next, cultivate cultural awareness and sensitivity, such as promote candid discussion and open communication regarding cultural differences, whereas the employees can freely express themselves. Next, encourage inclusive team dynamics and decision-making. Firms need to create inclusive team environments where employees feel comfortable sharing ideas and contributing to discussion without fear of cultural bias or discrimination. Next, address cultural adaptation and support. For example, provide tools and support to staff members who are having trouble adjusting to their new culture workplace. For the next slide is personal reflection. It consists of what I've gained from the interview. The first one is offering insight into various viewpoints and broadening one's perspective on the world. Next, by interacting with individuals from other cultural backgrounds, has instilled in me the value of empathy and receptiveness. Next, employ good communication strategies. All in all, cultural sensitivity and the necessity of approaching cross-cultural contexts with an open mind. On to the last slide is conclusion. In conclusion, conducting cross-cultural interview is a way to foster greater harmony and understanding throughout the world. In addition to providing a platform for professional and personal growth, our ability to manage a world that is becoming more diverse and linked while maintaining greater sensitivity, empathy, and respect for the many cultures that contribute to our common humanity is enhanced by this interview. That's all from me. Thank you.